I want to demonstrate a potential security flaw in the code that we have written in our previous lesson. There is nothing that I've changed in our code. Okay, so to demonstrate the problem, I'm gonna start Flask server and take a look at what we have within our store table in our database. We only have one store. Now, this is Next Academy's blog. And within the blog admin page, I'm gonna create a new blog post, okay, that basically shows an image. However, the source is gonna be our inventory management system, right? So some random post. Okay, I'm gonna publish this post. And I'm gonna copy the link to this blog post. I'm gonna open up a private browser to simulate, potentially any new user or any new computers anywhere in the world. So I'm gonna visit Next Academy's blog, that specific blog post. And what do you think it's doing? Let's take a look at our database now. There's one new record that says hacked, haha. Did you expect that? Let's take a look at the logs from our Flask server, and sure enough, a GET request was made to store form name hacked, haha. And the reason why it's doing that is because by default, the image tag would try to retrieve data from the source, src, right? And that is why it made a GET request to our server, even though it's completely unrelated. Next Academy's blog post has nothing to do with our inventory management system. This very hack can be replicated using any website. It doesn't need to be Next Academy's blog post. It could be someone else's blog, or it could even be a forum. So obviously this is not a desired behavior. There are two things we need to do to overcome this security flaw. We're gonna go through the first one. Okay, so I'm gonna modify our code so that, this endpoint right here uses a post request as opposed to a GET request, right? So what we're saying is that the only route that exists for store form is a post request. So this would fail. You cannot get store form. Okay, and now we're gonna repeat the hack. So instead of creating a new post, I'm just gonna modify this to hacked haha +2 because we have a uniqueness constraint to our database. Okay, once again, I'm gonna refresh. Okay, refresh this page. It would load again. So by right, it's gonna make a new sort of like GET request to store form on our inventory management server. Sure enough, it makes a GET request here. And let's reload our database. There are no new records that were created, right? And if you look at this carefully, it returned a 405. Basically, we couldn't find any endpoint that is a GET that is to store form, right? Because now we only allow post HTTP requests to reach this view function. Now, this doesn't completely eliminate the risk of this attack. It's a good start. However, we would still need to do one other thing, which is called CSRF protection. We won't get to that until next week, but for now, we'll start here, right? We'll change this to become a post request. And obviously for our form, we're gonna have to change what sort of request this form would make. So method should be post. Okay, and in this case, whenever a user fills in name and clicks submit in the form, it would make a post request to this endpoint rather than a GET request. And if it's a post request, it would then match this view function and this code will continue to run. It's very common to not use GET requests for any code that would modify our database, whether it's adding data, updating data, or deleting data. Remember that. We have more information about this in the lesson notes. In the lesson notes, we talk about the RESTful convention. RESTful convention is a good way to guide you to know, what are the different methods you should use for different actions, as well as the different endpoints. It's basically a standardization of what you would want in a RESTful style application. And for this bootcamp, we're gonna follow the RESTful convention. So go ahead and read the lesson note and take note and remember that for every new route that you create, you wanna follow this RESTful convention.